Hello, this is Courtney Lindop,
Danielle Gaudet.
Linda Yunjin.
and you're listening to For a New Humanity podcast from Earth Management TV. Today's topic is living with purpose.
All right, so I have to kind of kick us off with a question. Is living with a purpose really that important? Because if somebody has a great job, a nice house, a nice car, great family, and many, many blessings to be thankful for, can having a purpose really change any of that? Like, is it really necessary? So I'm asking, if I have all of those things, many blessings, things to be thankful for, can having a purpose really be the thing that changes the quality of my life?
I feel like having a purpose is really important. It adds so much meaning, but even to the examples that you just said, Linda, like I think everyone, even in those examples, somewhere deep down, whether they realize it or not, are searching for purpose, or they feel some kind of purpose. Like maybe they feel purpose in the job, the kind of job they do, the kind of work they do, kind of project they're working on. Or maybe they just feel purpose in their family, being a better parent, a better mother or father. I think it just gives us a bigger sense of our existence, of our life. It takes us out of that small self, like being very small, self-centered and focusing on the small things of life, and it expands us. So I think it's really important for everyone, and maybe even the people who don't feel like they have a purpose, somewhere deep down they do, or they're searching for it.
Right. Even if they're not fully aware of it. I mean, I have a background of depression throughout my younger years, and I didn't realize, but when I was reflecting later, the only thing that really sustainably pulled me out of that depression was having a purpose, was realizing that life existed, beyond this like small little world I'd created for myself in my head. So it's been essential to my story, my journey, for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that because I did also struggle with depression as well. And I think my depression, I don't know about your depression, Courtney, but my depression came from the fact that I felt like after a certain point, my life felt very repetitive, like in my job, in my studies, in social life, in the like adventures that I can go on. After a certain point, the newness of those things kind of disappeared and I felt kind of trapped. Like, even if I was going to a new party or like meeting new people, I felt like the same patterns and the same experiences were repeating again and again and again. And when I could feel that, I felt like, is this really all there is to life? Because I feel like there's a ceiling above me and I'm trying to break through the ceiling to have some new experience, to expand myself beyond my boundaries. But I felt trapped within the limitations of my life. So I think cycling day after day, year after year in this little box that I was in made me feel very hopeless about life and depressed because I didn't know how else to break free. I think I wanted to feel free more than anything, but I felt so trapped in my circumstances, trapped in my thoughts, trapped in this hamster wheel of life, going to the same job, seeing the same people, having the same experiences, doing the same routine things again and again and again.
Yeah. And for me, I think it started even earlier. Like I really couldn't see the purpose of like studying certain things in school, especially if they weren't of interest to me. Like when was I ever going to use this calculus equation? When would I ever why would I want to just input information in my brain just to input it? I had a really hard time doing things just to do them in school.
Yeah.
Well, I think that right off the bat, we can say, or at least from me and Linda's personal experience, that having a purpose is going to generally boost your mental and emotional health, for sure.
Yeah. And I would go on to say even it does that. It boosts that because it increases your sense of worth and value. That's what I hear from your stories, and I completely resonate. My story was similar, just lost in suffering. And then when I discovered some sense of purpose inside, it made me feel not only life is more worth living, but I'm more worthy. Like I feel happier and more joyful because I feel my own worth and purposefulness and usefulness here. So I think it really increases that will, it gives us energy and will to live and engage in life.
Yeah. And what comes with that is resilience too. You get a lot, stronger. You develop more grit to kind of face things that are coming at you. More energy, more motivation to live your life. Really, when you
Yeah,
have.
true.
And speaking of life, I feel like life can be a very, very deep topic. We can go on and on for many episodes talking about the essence of life itself, too.
Mhm.
But I think there's one key point that I want to bring up about life that relates to this topic. I think in life, there's definitely something more than just satisfying our physical desires. And I think that conclusion kind of comes from the fact that at some point in everyone's life, regardless of religion, social class, background, ethnicity, gender, regardless of any external factors, I feel everyone at some point, some people ask it early, some people ask it in their middle, some people ask it at the end of their lives, ask the question, is there anything more to life than this? Kind of like what I shared in my personal story. Like I said, some people ask that question very early on in their lives. Most people ask this question during what we call midlife crisis, when you've achieved success at work, when you've gotten the house, when you've checked off all the boxes of what society told you should be doing. And then you feel like, okay, well, I checked the boxes, but I still don't feel happy or fulfilled. During the midlife, people ask this question, is there something more to life than this? Or some people ask it in their deathbed, when they reflect on their lives, they realize, oh, my life is full of regret and I wish I did things differently. Was there more to my life than what I lived? So I think there's profound wisdom here, some kind of universal truth to this facts that at some point people ask that question. And I think that taps into something that's beyond just our physical bodies, beyond just, checking off the boxes and satisfying our physical desires. I think that's one thing that I want to mention. And then the other thing another interesting thing about purpose is that, okay, let's say you did ask the question, is there something more to life than this? The answer that truly comes in a fulfilling way, not just the surface answer, but an answer that really satisfies and, like you guys said, gives me meaning and worth and well-being and value and resilience, is a purpose that involves contributing to something bigger than myself or connecting or helping people in a bigger way beyond just my personal life that gives people the most satisfaction. And that's another kind of universal thing that I feel people, regardless of their background, have in common. That they feel the most fulfilled, they feel like their lives have the most meaning when they're contributing to more than just them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's inherent in human beings, like at our essence. I feel all people, if they connect with their heart, because, when we're in our head and we're intellectualizing, we could be disconnected from that place. But when they take time to feel their heart, some people might feel their heart is full. Some people might feel their heart is empty. But one way or another, when we go deeper into that space, there is a yearning inside for what you're talking about, that bigger sense, maybe contributing. Maybe it's just a desire to love, to share, to give or help in some way. If we see human beings as animals, I feel like we are that kind of animal, where at our essence, our true nature has that kind of heart for each other, for others. So when we connect there, that's when we really are starting now to talk about the deeper sense of purpose.
Yeah, I think that's another common ground that we always that we share, or at least I know for me, it feels good to contribute. It feels good to kind of give back. It feels good to care for people in a bigger way. Um, that's how I actually feel good about myself, and in that way, it really having a purpose. It bridges us into a more spiritual mindset, or just a bigger way of thinking. Um, you know, so I think at this point, we might be able to all agree that having a purpose is good, but the next question is, how can someone find their purpose?
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think Courtney, you kind of touched on this when you said you feel good. You don't know why, but something inside of you feels good when you contribute. I think these kinds of like feelings are clues that show us or shed light into an aspect of ourselves that maybe it's not apparent on the surface. So I think people who are, you know, born with certain interests or born with certain talents, I think those are no coincidence. Like obviously, the things that interest me and the things that interest Danielle, the things that interest Courtney are different, and they're different for a reason because we all have different ways that we can contribute to other people that makes us unique. So I think it's very important that people tune in to these clues of why I'm interested in certain things and other people are not. There's a reason for that. That's not a coincidence. It's a clue to kind of shed light on, okay, maybe I have an interest in this because it's trying to show me something about why I'm here. Or if you have a natural talent for something that somebody else doesn't have that natural talent, that also is not because you're a better person than they are. That has nothing to do with good or bad, high or low. It absolutely has to do with a bird has wings because it's meant to fly, and that's its purpose. And a tiger has a loud roar because there's a purpose in that. And if a bird tries to roar like a tiger its whole life, it's not going to know that it's meant to fly and not going to find its purpose. That's not about comparing ourselves to other people, but finding things that make me unique in my talents and the interests that I have that can shed light onto what kind of purpose I have in my lifetime on this earth right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And I would say that if there was anyone listening today and asking, okay, so how do I find my purpose? Asking themselves that question. So the key is, I mean, you already began, right? Because the starting point is choice, right? So if you want to find your purpose, first you have to choose, you have to seek for that. You have to long for that and say, I'm going to tune in and start to check in, like you're saying, Linda, the clues. What are my clues? And then I really think that has to come with the feeling. We talked about this already too. Find the clues in the feeling of your heart, the feeling of your body, what makes you feel alive, what makes your heart sing. Like it's going to be a sensation. It's going to make you feel lighter and brighter and motivated rather than something that makes you feel heavy or down or blocked. Then you're kind of going in the opposite direction. So finding your purpose is about wanting to find it and then asking your heart and asking it over and over and over again until you get the feeling that points you in the direction that that's what makes me feel my value. That's what makes me feel my love, my self opening, myself feeling the joy and the desire to be alive.
And in that way, nobody can answer that for you. Nobody can really tell you what your purpose, what your path is. It's something you have to investigate and find on your own and not just kind of think about and intellectualize. It's a feeling. It's a sense of something. You have to kind of don't go deep within through meditation or through whatever kind of helps you connect to that part of yourself.
Right. So you're looking for the sense of deep fulfillment inside. I think that means you're headed in the right direction. What gives you fulfillment? Because we talked about some examples earlier. Maybe, oh, I feel purpose in my job or in this project or in this relationship. But the heart can keep saying, oh, is there more? Is there something I want more? Is there something that makes me feel more alive than this? And we keep examining it as we live by listening to that sense of deep fulfillment inside.
Yeah. And then when you find that purpose that gives you deep fulfillment
Hmm.
and gives you that reason to live and make you feel more alive from within, I feel like when you focus on that in life, it gives you a reason or a motivation to overcome and face the hardships that come in life. And we know that every single person in their own way goes through suffering, hardship, pain in life. And those things can be much more, I guess, acceptable or tolerable when I have a bigger reason, a goal for me to live and a goal for me to go beyond these things. And I know that definitely resonates true for me. When I did find my purpose and reason to be alive, it made me stronger to overcome the hardships that inevitably did come and still do come in my life.
Definitely, right? It's like a lighthouse in the ocean, a dark and stormy ocean. It's like a lighthouse in the distance. I can see some direction. It's guiding me towards light. I think it's very important. So I feel like when we're talking about whether it's improving our mental health and well-being or even improving humanity as a whole, we all agree, I think today, that it's so important to we encourage each person to go on their own individual journey to find their purpose, whatever that is, whatever makes that their heart come alive. It's a process. It's a journey to even find that. It's like an ongoing thing. So we encourage people to do it with patience and the joy of discovery, self-discovery. But it's going to bring so much richness to each person's life when they find it.
Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, though, to our listeners, don't worry about it if you haven't found it yet. It
Right.
really, it is a process, and you're not going to help yourself by giving yourself a hard time about it. If you want it, you've already started that first step to choosing it, to discovering it, and give yourself time, because it can even evolve, and it can change as long as you keep asking, you keep becoming kind of aware or searching for it. You will find it.
Yeah. And if you're stuck, if after all of this, you're still like, okay, well, I have no idea what to do, where to start, how to even find my purpose, we recommend try to connect with something beyond just you. I think society conditions us to just, be concerned about my life, or maybe concerned about my family's life or the people that I love only, and nothing beyond that, nothing beyond the boundaries of like the people in my circle. But if you truly want to find a purpose that gives deep, deep satisfaction and meaning, even if you don't know exactly what that is, try to connect with something that affects humanity or affects the earth, something really big beyond the limitations of people that I usually reach out to, and take actions that affect the bigger people. So one of the things that we advocate on Earth Management is this New Humanity Pledge. So if you go to newhumanitypledge.org, it's basically a list of like guidelines and proposed actions and ways to think about people who are not necessarily in my sphere. So seeing how some small thing that I do in my life can connect with people who are in different countries or can affect the earth, and then making a commitment in my life to do things that affects people beyond just people I normally connect to, and actions that can affect the earth, that may be a good place for you to start if you want to get some hints and clues as to what can I connect to that gives me joy in my life. So we recommend check out the New Humanity Pledge. And if it resonates with you, go ahead and sign the pledge to take that first step to make the commitment. I want to connect with something bigger. I want to find my purpose in life.
Yes. Yeah. I really think there's a lot of inspiration on that page. Your heart might resonate with little bits and pieces from that pledge. So that's a great place to start.
Yeah, and like ultimately you never know unless you try. You got to try things to see if it resonates with you. So if there's a little bit of resonance, just try it, and then you'll know if it fits with you or not in anything in life in order to find your purpose.
Yeah.
It's true.
And obviously on Earth Management TV, we're a big component for the earth. So that's a great place to start. So we want to thank you all for listening. We hope it inspired you to take some action to connect and to keep searching for a larger purpose in your life.
Yes. And in our next episode, we'll be talking about living with AI and its effect on the planet. So, yeah, it'll be great to look deeper into that and how that connects with all of what we're saying here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, me too. Okay, thank you
All
so
right.
much. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.